the session.
Great, thank you so much, Kirsten. And hello to everybody joining and everybody who's watching the recording later. Thank you so much for coming along. And I think it's late afternoon in India, if not coming into the evening. So thank you for taking time out of your day. So my name is Amy Lightfoot. I work for the British Council, and I'm joined, some colleagues also from the British Council are here. We can't see them on screen at the moment, but some of you may already know Dipali Damaraj and Kamini Taneja, who are from our British Council team in India. And of course, I'm joined here by Kirsten McGregor and Eddie Moran from the University of Stirling. And as you know, we're going to be talking to you about the scholarship offer that we have for the MSc program, master's program that is offered by the University of Stirling. That's an online distance program that we're offering 3 scholarships for starting in the September session. So I'm going to hand over to Kirsten, but if you have questions as we go along, you do have access to the chat. So please just pop your questions in there, and yeah, we will pick those up either as we're going along or towards the end of the session. So Kirsten, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. So I just want to also add a quick introduction. So I'm Kirsten McGregor. I'm from the University of Stirling. I work for the international team. We do also have representation from our fantastic team India, who are brilliant at helping students apply and with any technicalities they have. So our representative today is Rishi. Rishi will be able to answer any questions in the chat, and he will also leave the Team India email address if you have any follow-up questions, that would be best for Rishi to answer for you. We have a couple of attendees from the program, from the TESOL programs we have. So in the chat, kind of observing what's going on, is Aunt Lottie. And today we have a fantastic overview of the course and the university from Edward Moran, who I'm going to pass over to just now, so he can tell you a bit about Stirling and a bit about the specific online TESOL program that this scholarship will cover. After that, we will talk a little bit about the application for British Council. We'll talk a little bit more about scholarship, and we'll have a Q&A at the end. So either put your questions in the chat as we go along and we'll collate them, or just hold them till the end and we can answer them then. So without further ado, Eddie, please tell the students about Stirling and about your program.
Okay, I think the first thing I need to do is share the screen. So Kirsten, will I be able to share?
Yeah, Eddie, I think you are. You're set up as a presenter, so
okay.
You should be able.
Okay, it's nice to be here, and I think it's great to have this opportunity to introduce our wonderful university to you all, and to the potential winners of the scholarships. What I want to do here is tell you about the MSc TESOL and Call Online. That will involve also telling you a little bit about our university as well, so that you have a picture in your minds of the university that you will become a member of. You will become a member of our community of learners, and it's important that you know what Stirling University is, and you have some familiarity with it. First of all, my name is Eddie, and I'm a senior lecturer on the TESOL program in the Faculty of Social Sciences in the Division of Education in Stirling University. So anyway, here, what you're looking at here is one view of the university. That's the main sort of administrative buildings, and the campus is recognized as probably the most beautiful campus in Western Europe. We're also very good in sports, and we were the Sports University of the Year in 2020. We are located in Scotland, and we're between Glasgow and Edinburgh, and we make a kind of triangle with Glasgow and Edinburgh. So if you want to come here, it's very easy. We have international airports in Glasgow and Edinburgh, and it's less than an hour's drive from either of those airports to our campus. So it's very easy to get here. The university itself has a total of about 17,000 students. We've got about 10,300 undergraduates, 3,800 plus postgraduates. I know that doesn't add up to 17,000, but there is a plus on that. We've got about 1,500 staff, and we've got over 120 nationalities on campus. So we're very international. And about 20% of our students are from overseas. And we see ourselves very much as part of a global community of research and scholarship. And our students on our online courses are as much members of that community as we are. The university rankings, we're very highly ranked, and we're very well regarded for our teaching. Employability is very important to us. So our courses tend to be aimed at making people, as far as possible, employable, or improving their career prospects and so on. We're also recognized for our work in internationalization, for our very high quality facilities, and for our inclusiveness. If you want to visit Stirling, then we're a campus university just outside the city of Stirling. And now we call it a city, but it's actually very small. Stirling itself is very old, has a very long history, and it's a vibrant, student-centered student town. Okay, if you want to come here and live, I know you're online students, but if you were considering it, you'd find it very affordable here compared to other parts of the UK. The city itself is very active. We have lots of shopping, cafe culture, performing arts, nightlife. It's a really nice place, but it's also a very warm and friendly place. We currently have a development program going on, and it's almost complete now. The university has been spruced up somewhat, and it's really up to date. Here we go. Now, what I'm particularly proud of is our library. Our library is excellent. It's very, very modern. As part of the scholarship, you may come over here for a short visit, and you will be using the library. So, like any library, we've got lots of books, but modern libraries are not just based around books now. They're hard copy books. They're very highly digitalized. So most of the books that you will need will be digital. So there'll be ebooks available for you. So although you're working online, you'll have full access to most of the books that you need on screen. Also, all of the journals that we use, they're all online as well. And these are all accessible through our catalogue, through the portal. And if you do come here, then you'll find the library is quite space age. It doesn't even look like a library sometimes, depending on where you are in it. Now, you'll see here a canvas. Canvas is a virtual learning environment, and we use this to organize and deliver our materials to students and to set up interaction with students. And your interaction with us will be very much based in Canvas. So discussions and things like that. And all of our materials will be delivered to you that way. Now here, I'd like to introduce the TESOL program. Now, all of the programs we have. So we have an MSc in TESOL, that's on campus. And then we have the MSc TESOL online. This includes the TESOL and Core online. We also have an MSc in Management and English Language Teaching. We do this with the Stirling Management School, and this is for people who want to be, who see themselves as English teachers, but also as, for example, managers of language centres or managers of, for example, language departments in colleges and so on. Now, why should anyone study with the University of Stirling, and why TESOL at Stirling? Now, TESOL is part of education in Stirling, and we're ranked 3rd in Scotland and 11th in the UK for education. So we're very highly ranked for that. Okay, and that's in the Times and Sunday Times. The complete, sorry, I've got a little typo here. The complete education guide, puts us 6th in the UK for education. And we're 5th in Scotland and 30th in the UK for education in the Guardian University Guide. Of course, the Guardian doesn't know what they're talking about. The one to look at is the Times, where we're 3rd in Scotland and 11th in the UK. If you study with us, you'll be part of a diverse cohort. So if you study with us on our online course, you'll be studying with people who are locals, Scottish, British people, people from the Middle East, people from Europe, South America, and so on. You'll be part of a very international class. And after you finish our master's degree, you have the option to continue with a PhD in TESOL research if you reach the required standards. Now, as an online student, you also have the option to take part in our international placements. Now, obviously, you might not be able to do this from India, but if you did have the financial funds for this, then this is available to you. Our placements are paid teaching placements in universities and schools. And they go from August to November. So after you submit your dissertation, from August to November, you would be able to do a 3-month placement. And we do this in countries such as Germany, Hungary, France. There's also possibly Japan. It depends on what year you do it. The countries change from year to year, but at the moment it's Germany, Hungary, and France. And this is also subject to an interview and language requirements. Students also sometimes need support. So every student is assigned a personal tutor, and we give extensive support in terms of pastoral support, financial, I shouldn't have put that there, English language support, IT support, careers, and so on. That's all available through the university. the MSc TESOL and CALL online. Now we classify this as part-time, and it's delivered completely online. Now, students who are on this course have the option to attend modules on campus, because the online modules closely follow our on-campus modules. So if you did want to, you could come and attend classes. The course is ideal for those who want to study while continuing to teach. And you'll see from our testimonials that I have at the end of this presentation that this is what our students say, that they're able to continue working and study at the same time. There's a balance of theory and practice, and we're very innovative in the way that we teach. We use a lot of technology, and the things that we teach you are also the way that we do things on the course. We focus on development of advanced professional capabilities and knowledge in language learning and teaching. So practically everybody on our course is an experienced teacher. So we make use of this. So our assessments, wherever we can, are work-based. So the kind of assessments, if we give you an assignment, you can use examples from your working experience, for example. And then our input in the modules is also designed to develop you as a professional. Okay, and our online activities are aimed at that also. Now, the TESOL and CALL online master's degree has the following structure. Okay, it's done over 5 semesters. So semester 1, we do TESOL methodology and principles of language learning and teaching. TESOL methodology is very practical, and then the principles of language learning and teaching is more theoretical. This is the background theory that any TESOL master's degree will contain. So if you looked at any other master's degree in the UK, you will find a module with content similar to what we have on this module, although it is somewhat tuned to our own strengths and interests, as any master's degree would, as any module similar to this on any master's degree would be. In semester 2, there's discourse analysis. Whoops. Now, it looks a bit unbalanced here, that there's 1 module here and 2 modules in semester 1, but actually they kind of go one after the other, and they're technically in semester 2 or technically in semester 1, but they're balanced out. In semester 3, we do grammar for TESOL, and we also do the technologies in the 21st century classroom. And that's the part that makes this a TESOL and CALL master's degree. So in that module, you will cover a range of different topics. We'll be looking at use of a virtual learning environment, teaching languages online, some multimedia design and development, online teaching methodologies, and so on. Right. In semester 4, we'll do research methods, and we have to do a module in research methods because this is a training for you doing your dissertation. And then in semester 5, you would do your dissertation on a CALL topic. Now, a little bit more about the research, about the dissertation. The dissertation is a research project, and you will report on this. This would be a 15,000 word report, And 15,000 words may sound like a lot to you, but if you think of it like 5 essays, it's 5 chapters and 5 essays. It's not actually that hard. It's probably in many cases, it's the biggest thing our students have ever done in their life up to that point, but it's actually doable. We provide a lot of support for this and scaffolding to support you through it. You will be supervised by, you will have a supervisor who will work with you through the dissertation, and you'll be very well supported in doing it. Okay, so the dissertation must be on something related to core. Now, this could be materials development, where you develop some online materials, and then the research part is where you try the materials out with the students, and the students and then you see how the students interact with your materials. That's your research that you report on. Or you could do a survey of say attitudes to educational technology in high school, by high school teachers in your local city, for example, whatever. So it would be actually a survey research, but it's about technology. Okay, so you can do that. And there's a range of different topics in between. Here are some previous dissertation examples. The first one, linearizing non-linear hypertext. I can't even say it. This student wrote a hypertext story where you read a part of a story, and then you choose what happens next. And it's a branching story, and it was designed at I think for business English. That particular dissertation placed in the top 4 in the British Council's competition for TESOL dissertations that year. We do very well in this competition, and in the last, I think, 10 years or so, we've had top 4 students. We've placed in the top 4, I think, at least 3, possibly 4 times. I can't remember. Nationally, so we have very high standards there. Recently, we had a student use a computer-based test. CBM is certainty-based marking, and it's a special type of computer-based test, and he did research on that. And then the last example there was looking for the small story in the big story, teacher resilience in COVID-19. We get people do a lot of research. Are doing research a lot at the moment on COVID-19 and how teachers responded to COVID-19 and the use of technology in coping with teaching people under pandemic conditions. So if you were interested in anything like that, the world is your oyster. Anyway, so that's dissertations. Here are some testimonials. I'm not going to read them out. You could look at them in detail in the recording, but both of these testimonials focus on the flexibility of the course, support from teachers, and the benefits the course has had for these students. Benefits in terms of confidence, skills development, career opportunities, and so on. Right. So you can take a closer look when the recording is made available. Okay. And I'll finish there. Thank you very much. So I'll hand back to Kirsten to carry on.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you very much, Eddie, for that really good overview of the programme and everything that it entails. I think it's a very fascinating area, and I'm sure all the participants do as well. So I don't know if Amy, you want to talk a little bit more, or another representative from the British Council wants to talk a little bit more about the scholarship that we have on offer and kind of the background around that and what specifically you're targeting. So Amy, I'll hand over to you unless it's anyone else.
Great, thank you very much. Yes, I will just quickly share my screen. And just to say to everyone, don't forget that as you're listening, if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat, and I'll make sure that I cover this quite quickly so we have at least, well, we have some time at the end for a good amount of time for questions. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen. Let me know when you can see them. Can you see the slides? Yes, great. Okay. All right, so Eddie's just given us a really great overview of the University of Stirling and the programme that is on offer with this scholarship. And I just wanted to just talk you through a little bit about why we're doing the scholarships and also the eligibility criteria so that that is all nice and clear for you. So first of all, just to highlight as well that for English teachers from India, we are offering a total of 6 scholarships. We're offering 3 scholarships from the University of Stirling to do the MSc TESOL course that Eddie has just talked through. That's online, so studying at a distance, but there is a 2-week residential visit to Stirling, which is built into the scholarship funding. We are also offering another set of scholarships, 3 scholarships, to study at the University of Leeds. And that programme is for people who are able to take time for a year to go and live in the UK and study the programme face to face. Now, obviously, people have different circumstances, and you can decide which of those ways of studying is more appropriate for you. But we hope by offering both modes of study that we'll be able to cater to lots of different people who have different needs when it comes to your personal circumstances. Okay, so there are 3 scholarships with the University of Stirling and 3 scholarships with the University of Leeds. In this session today, we are only talking about the University of Stirling programme. So if you have questions about the University of Leeds offer, you need to go to our website, and the webinar for that has already taken place, and you can watch the recording of that. So just to give you a little bit of background on why we're offering these scholarships, hopefully you are familiar with the British Council and the work that we do. A large part of our work in India and elsewhere is supporting English language teachers to develop your skills, and also to offer a wide range of resources towards your continuing professional development and research and evidence behind that as well. And what we're really hoping is that with these scholarships, we can help the successful scholars both to develop their skills, but also to bring the knowledge that you gain from doing the master's level course back to your own practice and to your teaching and the context that you work in. And one of the real advantages, as Eddie said, of doing the online program is that you're most likely going to be studying and working at the same time. So you're able to really take things that you're learning from the master's course and immediately apply them into your practice if you're working in the classroom, or perhaps you're working doing other aspects of within the educational system, but still applying what you're learning as you're going along. We're also really hoping that we're very confident you'll have a really fantastic experience of what the UK has to offer in terms of postgraduate education. And we would like the people who are selected as scholars really to help us and act as ambassadors for that programme and be part of our alumni network for studying towards this kind of qualification in the UK. Okay. Also, I just wanted to just address why we have a particular focus on technology for these scholarships. As you know, educational technologies in India and again elsewhere have played a really even greater role in teaching and learning and assessment for all subjects, particularly during the COVID pandemic. Obviously some variety in terms of how people have been able to access that, but it's something that we've seen growing year by year over the last, I would say, decade. There's lots to learn about how to use appropriate technologies, and I think through this master's program you will really get hands-on experience and understanding of how appropriate technologies can be used to support English language teaching and learning. The scholarships, who are they for? So this is very important to be clear about. There are some very specific criteria for people who would like to apply for the scholarship. I should say, and I hope Adi and Kirsten, I'm saying the right thing, but as I've understood, the first thing you will need to do is apply for the MSc TESOL online program, and you need to be accepted onto that course first. And then once you have been accepted onto that course, we will consider an application to the scholarship, but they are two separate applications that you need to make. So just to be clear, you have to make two applications, one to the MSc TESOL program and one to the scholarship. That's right, isn't it, Kirsten? Yes, okay.
Yeah, that's right. As long as the students have applied and they have their application number, they can then apply for the scholarship.
Yeah. So in order to be considered for the scholarship, and as I said, there are 3 scholarships available this year. We require that you are a passport holder and a permanent resident of India, that you are able to demonstrate that you need the financial support. We're not asking you to give us bank statements or anything like that, but we just need you to make a statement to explain why you think you should be given the opportunity from a funding point of view. We also expect that people who receive these scholarships will not be receiving funding from any other source, and that you haven't studied at degree level or higher in the UK or lived recently in the UK. So for example, that means in the last 3 years. If you have, unfortunately, you won't be eligible for the scholarship. Of course, we expect that anybody who is applying will be motivated and able to follow the course content and the course program. Studying online does have its own challenges. So we are looking for people who are very confident that they have both the time and also the commitment to continue with the online program to see it through. This one is particularly important. We are also looking for people to give scholarships to who are working either in the government school sector in India or with the government sector in India. When I say with the government sector, that means that people who are working, for example, in a privately funded school, but who have a connection to, for example, a government school, who might be working with groups of government school teachers, supporting them with their teacher development. Or if you are working for an NGO or another organisation that offers and designs and delivers programmes to English language teachers or learners in the government setting, then you would be eligible to apply for the scholarship too. But there must be some connection that you can show to that government sector. We also require that you are active in the field. You must be working in English language teaching and learning, and that you have an interest in educational technologies. Okay. As I said, we are looking for people who are going to be committed and want to be able to contribute to the field of English language teaching during and after the completion of your studies. And that you're able to demonstrate how you would see yourself doing that through the application that you make. As I also mentioned that we'd like scholars to be part of the British Council's alumni network, and we would ask that you agree to participate in that when you make your application. I've already talked a little bit about this, about being able to be clear about how you will engage with the community of English language teaching during and following the programme, and that you'll share your personal data with us in order for you to be part of that alumni network. Okay, nearly got to the end of the criteria. Just a couple more things to note. There are some other points that mean people will not be eligible, and these mainly relate to employment with or being a relative of somebody who is employed by one of these the organisations or government departments, which I'll mention. Also, unfortunately, people who hold dual British citizenship will not, unfortunately, be considered for the scholarship. Here's a bit about being an employee. If you are an employee, a former employee, or a relative, as you can see defined there, of a relative of an employee of the UK government's departments, as they're listed here, or of somebody who works from the British Council, or you have previously or are currently an employee of the British Council, unfortunately, we will not be able to consider you for the scholarship. Last thing to say on this then is that the University of Stirling team will be managing the application process, but the British Council will be involved in the selection of from the shortlist that is put together from the applications received. And then finally, just to say what the scholarship includes, as you will have seen from the website and also from the other documentation available about the scholarships, it covers the preparatory work that you need to do. Just remind me, for the University of Stirling, there's an IELTS requirement for people to make the application initially?
Yes, so it does slightly depend. We can potentially accept other forms of evidence, but typically it would be an IELTS exam. I can talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Just clarify the entry requirements for the course.
Great. So the point here is that if you do have to take an IELTS exam or similar to prove your English language proficiency levels, then that cost will be covered by the scholarship. The tuition fees are also covered by the scholarship. You will also receive a small stipend for living expenses during the residential trip to the UK. So only for that 2-week visit, you will be given some money to help cover your accommodation and other expenses while you're there. You will also have costs covered for your flights and connecting travel to go to the University of Stirling for that 2-week period that we've mentioned, and the visa costs and insurance also for that trip. Okay, that's it from me. That's everything I wanted to just go through. Kirsten, shall I hand back to you? And you can see some questions are also coming through the chat.
Yeah, no problem. I'll quickly talk over a few of the entry requirements for the course, a little bit about the scholarship, and then we can open for any questions. So let me just share my screen as well. So one of the students had briefly asked about how to receive the application number. The way to do this is to go on the website, and this is the TESOL course page here, which is easy enough to find if you just type in TESOL in the search bar. You would then click apply now, and that's how you start your application process. It's pretty straightforward, and once that is submitted to our admissions team, in roughly 24 hours you will get a recognition letter email from the department, from the admissions department, and that will contain your application number. In that time, they will then process your application and issue you either a conditional or unconditional offer. I will say, and want to clarify, that where the including things in the scholarship are like an IELTS test, that will only be for successful scholars, so you can apply with a conditional offer. If we wanted to, if you're successful and you've been shortlisted by the university and selected by the British Council, and you still require an IELTS test to get your letter from conditional to unconditional, that's when we would pay for the IELTS test. We unfortunately cannot pay for an IELTS test for all applicants. But yeah, apply now, and that's how you can get that letter. And I'll just share the scholarship page as well, and we will send this around to all students who are at this webinar today also. And this is the page for the British Council Scholarship. You can type that in the search bar as well, and it's quite easy to find on our website. This will clarify the deadline, which is the 17th of June. After that, we will be reading all of the applications and making our shortlist to provide to British Council. So it'll be after that date we find out if you are successful. The page also reiterates the eligibility, as Amy has already presented to you. And then this section, how do I apply? So there is an application form here that you will fill in personal information about your work, your motivations, why this type of scholarship would be particularly useful to you in your career, and that's what we're using to make that. And that'll be submitted to Eddie here. Sorry, my voice is just totally going today. And that's how you'll be able to submit that. So if we have any further questions on this type of area about the course, about the scholarship, or anything else, please feel free to put that in the chat just now, and we can help you with that there. You can see we have a couple of questions that have just come in. I think Rishi's already answered about applying for the course first to get the number. And yes, you do have to, there is separate applications. So Sisai has asked, do you have separate application forms for Stirling and the British Council? So yes, as we've said, you would apply for the course and then for the scholarship. The scholarship is listed on the University of Stirling's website. They'll come straight to us first before going to the British Council. So everything is managed through Stirling, but there are two applications, one for the course and one for the scholarship.
There's a question from Jana about when the final selection list will be published.
So the deadline for the scholarship is the 17th of June. Once that deadline is passed, the university will shortlist applicants and pass them to the British Council. So I think it'll probably be around a month for that process to take place. Amy, does that seem about reasonable?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. We do have a date. I can have a quick look and see if I can find a specific date, but I think it's about a month. That sounds right. So in July, mid-July. Jana's also asked about whether it will be based on the documents submitted or if there will be an interview. Presumably there's some acknowledgement of applications when they're sent in. Is there an acknowledgement for both the programme application and the scholarship one?
Eddie, the applications are coming through to you at this point. Do you know if there's an automatic response on those?
I think that admissions does an automatic response when an application is made.
Yeah, for the course, but for the scholarship side of things, Eddie?
No, I haven't had that many applications yet. Yeah, I'll see if I can set up an automatic response for that. Okay.
That's fine. So yeah, you'll get that.
Sorry, you can tell I'm not used to doing this kind of thing. All right, but I will certainly do that. Okay.
No problem. Amy, there's a few questions about the government school and those links. Can you just clarify that there for some students? So there's one asking that they're not working in any school right now, but they have worked for a government school before. And another one just asking a bit more on working with the government. So what are the criteria that you'd be looking at for someone working in the private sector? Oh, sorry, Amy, I think you're on mute, which is compulsory for any webinar and any meeting.
Sorry about that. So for people who are, anybody who has previously worked with the government sector but is not currently, what I would say is that in order to have a strong application, you need to be able to show what you are going to contribute to English language teaching and learning in India once you have completed your program. Because we're looking for people who are going to, who have ambitions to be kind of leaders in the field of English language teaching and learning, and who want to be able to share their knowledge and skills that they have gained from the master's program, but also more generally from your experience of working in the classroom with colleagues and also obviously with to support learners. So if you are not currently teaching and you don't have any plans to go back into teaching or to work in the education sector again, unfortunately, your application probably will not be as strong as somebody who is currently working in or with the government education sector directly. In terms of the second question about working with the government and what we mean about that, what we're trying to do with these scholarships is to help people to continue to develop their skills so that they can help to improve learners' skills in English ultimately. And we're particularly interested in supporting that in the government sector school environment. I know in India it's quite complex in terms of which schools count as government sector and which schools count as privately funded. If a school is fully privately funded with no government funding at all and no links to government funding, then we don't consider that. If it's government aided, privately run, then we would consider that as being associated with the government education sector. For somebody who is working in the private sector, if you have a connection to teachers who are working in the government sector, or somehow you are working with children who are in government schools, perhaps they come to the private sector school for some exchange events or something like that. If there is a way that you can show that connection, then we will consider your application. I hope that helps. I can see there's a question about application number, but I think that's been answered already. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. If anyone feels that their question hasn't been answered, there are a couple of hands up, both from Dr. Ishrat Fatma and Luna. If you guys can just type your questions in and we'll answer them immediately. Fortunately, I can unmute you.
Just while we're waiting for people to type their questions, there is just one question I'll take from Debarama. Debarma, about applying for, can I apply for both the options? I think you're referring to the University of Stirling option and the University of Leeds option. The answer is yes. If you go to the British Council website, and actually, if I can ask one of my colleagues, Dipali or Kamini, if you could put the link to the British Council website with the scholarships information into the chat. If you go to that link, you will see where you can find information about the University of Leeds programme, which is the face-to-face one, and also the one we're talking about today, University of Stirling. So you can have a look and go and find information. And as Kirsten has just showed you, the applications are all done through the university websites. So you can go there and you'll find the application forms that you need.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Amy, if you know that the deadline for Leeds, is it different from Stirling, or is it the 17th of June?
It is different from Stirling. If you go to the British Council website, you'll be able to find all the details. So I think my colleague is putting the link there.
That's fine, links there. So just be aware that deadline for Leeds for the face-to-face programme may be different from Stirling. So double check that for if you're interested in applying for both options. I think that, Amy, you were quite clear in that if students were planning to go back into teaching, if maybe there was an issue over the pandemic, that still may not stop them from applying for the scholarship.
If they were planning to go back into teaching and they have teaching experience, no, that should be okay. Yeah. There's actually, sorry, I've just seen 2 questions that I don't think I've got to. One.
I think there was probably one, Amy, that I need to recover. I meant to do it, and unfortunately with the COVID brain, it is so hard to keep track of things. But I know some students had asked just to double check the IELTS requirements. So for this programme, because it is a TESOL programme, it's got a slightly higher level of IELTS than some of our courses. The overall is 6.5, but you must have a minimum of 6.5 in reading and writing and a minimum of 6 in speaking and listening to be eligible for the TESOL programme. So I'm actually going to put that in the chat because it's a lot of numbers to remember. So I'll put that in the chat. I will also, for everyone attending today, share the links to the programme and to the TESOL programme and the link to the application after the event. So you'll get the recording of this and the 2 links just to make sure you have access to them.
Kirsten, can I just check, is that the options that you've got there on the screen, they just have to do one of those things, right? So it doesn't have
yes,
to be...
so they're all the general equivalencies. So it will have the Pearson equivalency, but overall it will be the IELTS. Is probably a bit straightforward.
There's another question from somebody who's not, who is a teacher of English in a government school. Are they eligible to apply? Yes, if you are a teacher of English or you teach through English even, and you're working in a government school, then yes, you are eligible to apply for the programme and for the scholarship, for the MSc programme and for the scholarship.
But IELTS as well. So generally IELTS in the UK sector is only accepted for 2 years, which means that if your IELTS is from 2014, that won't be accepted. So you will need to reset your IELTS. And if you've done your Masters in English, you will still need a further test of English language evidence. This is because it's a higher level course, which means that the IELTS is typically higher than our standard. We can't accept an MOI letter for in place of IELTS or English tests.
I've just seen one question from somebody who referred to working in a college. I can't actually find it now to say who it's from. But I also just wanted to highlight that we will accept applications from people who are working in higher education as well as in the school system. But what I will say is that when we are selecting the scholars for the 3 scholarships that we have to offer, we will not want to have all 3 scholarships going to people who are working in higher education. See what I mean? So we would like to have people who are working in school education, but we will also consider applications for people coming from higher education. So we get a mix potentially, if that makes sense.
Amy, there was a question about someone working in primary skills, so they don't specifically just teach English, they teach all subjects.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
as long as you are, as long as you have some responsibility for teaching English or in English, then that's fine.
And Dr. Ishrat, there is no age limitation on this, so having your 17 years of experience is fantastic. It will not preclude you from applying for the scholarship or for the programme. Varad, I think we really have time for maybe one more question before we have to close the session, but you can still get in touch with us. I will email out all the relevant contacts, and they will be on the pages as well. But Varad, if you are a successful candidate, so if you have a conditional offer just now, and you apply for the scholarship and you are successful and will still need IELTS, then you will get funding for that. You won't get funding for IELTS at application level. Susai, you will need your documents and degree certificate when applying for the programme. You will need those, not for the scholarship, but for the programme application for the course. Any last questions before we thank all of our presenters, and thank you all for joining us. Okay, I think that's probably everything for now. So thank you very much, Amy. Thank you very much to Eddie. Sorry, I just saw a quick one come in. Thank you. Should I wait for selection or shall I take up the IELTS now? It would be advantageous to take IELTS just now. It just makes the programme and applying a lot smoother. However, if you don't have access to IELTS or you don't have the funding to do IELTS just now, you can still apply for the programme and the scholarship. And if you're selected, we'd pay for the IELTS. Oh, Eddie, do you see that someone's put a lovely comment for you saying, very good and pleasing to see Eddie. I love him and the way he treated my mails, wishing him a happy and healthy life. So there you go, Eddie. That's from Dr.
Where is that? Who said that?
Can I just quickly, sorry, I know we're finishing, but there is just a question from Luna Jyoti about submitting letters from the DEO or from the District Educational Officer. You don't need to do that for the application, but what I would say is that if you need to get permission for in some way or another to participate in the programme, then that's your responsibility to get that permission. So if you are successful, you will get a letter stating that you have been successful for the scholarship and what we are offering. But if you need to get permission from your supervisors or from your government officials to participate, for example, coming to Stirling for 2 weeks, that will be your responsibility to get that permission.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you to everyone, and I will send on relevant email addresses for myself, for Team India, and the scholarship links, as well as the recording for today. Thank you everyone for joining us, and I definitely hope to meet some of you when you come to Stirling in that 2 weeks. So thank you very much, and I wish you a great evening and rest of the day for everyone in the UK.
Thank you, everybody.